ஒரு ரெண்டு விஷயம் பண்ணாங்கனாலே I think a lot of business owners would be happy to pay them 10x more money.
The Indian freelancer community is considered probably the best. It's
2030, more than 5% of the formal workforce will shift to the freelancing.
So how can we teach the domain easily? How can we share our knowledge easily?
So I think building that small cluster of people in those initial few days is critical.
Make people feel empowered to talk about what they're going through in a very different narrative.
And initially, இப்படி ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி ஆர் ஐ டென்ட் நோ வேர் டு கோ.
இங்கே இவ்வளோ ஃப்ரீலான்சர்ஸ் பார்க்குறதுக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது. ஃப்ரீலான்சிங் அப்படின்னா வந்து விடாமுயற்சி இருக்கணும், நிறைய லேர்னிங் இருக்கணும். அதுதான் இந்த பேனல் டிஸ்கஷனில் பார்க்க போகிறோம். உங்களோட வாழ்க்கை உங்கள் கையில், ஏன்னா நீங்கள் தான் உங்களோட ஓன் பாஸ். பட் ஓன் பாஸாக இருக்கும்போது காலங்காத்தால் 2 மணிக்கு எழுந்திரிச்சு நம்ம மண்டைக்குள்ளே ஒரு பேனல் டிஸ்கஷன் ஓடும். ஸ்கேலிங்காக, ப்ரைஸிங் எப்படி பண்ணுறது, இத்தனை ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் இருக்கே, கிளையண்ட் பேமெண்ட் பண்ணலையே, மென்டல் ஹெல்த், இந்த மாதிரி ஒர்க் லைஃப் பேலன்ஸ், இந்த மாதிரி பல விஷயங்களை சிந்திக்க தோணும். இன்றைக்கி இந்த பேனலில் வி ஹாவ் அ பவர் பேக் பேனல் அண்ட் லெட்ஸ் ஒர்க் ஆன் ப்ரொவைடிங் சொல்யூஷன்ஸ் ஃபார் answers to all your questions here. Let's crack the code on freelancing. எந்த அளவுக்கு நம்மளோட பிஸ்னஸை நெக்ஸ்ட் லெவலுக்கு கொண்டு போகலாம், நம்மளோட கரியரை நெக்ஸ்ட் லெவலுக்கு கொண்டு போகலாம் அப்படின்றத பற்றி நம்ம டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ண போகிறோம். ஐ வெல்கம் யூ ஆல் அண்ட் த பேனலிஸ்ட் ஹியர். அண்ட் லெட் மீ இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் த பேனலிஸ்ட். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வி ஹாவ் எபாஃப்ரா, யங் ஸ்டோரி டெல்லர். கதை சொல்கிறது தான் இவரோட வேலை, ஆனால் அதையே பிஸ்னஸாக மாற்றிட்டாரு. Right? So Town Scholar அப்படின்ற ஒரு ஏஜென்சி where he creates content for businesses, and தவிர he also has a podcast channel as well that's also running successfully. Then here we have Parvathi. அவங்க வந்து GIGA அப்படின்ற ஒரு பேமெண்ட் சொல்யூஷன்ஸ் வேர் குளோபல் பேமெண்ட்ஸ் அக்செப்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கான சொல்யூஷன்ஸ் வச்சுருக்காங்க. அவங்கக்கிட்டேருந்து நிறைய விஷயங்கள் நம்ம இன்றைக்கி கற்றுக்க போகிறோம். தென் Jack Anto, what happened to your beard in the photo? Okay, எனக்கு அடையாளம் தெரியல. Okay, we have Jack Anto. ஒரு 27,000 members உள்ள ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி பில்ட் பண்ணியிருக்காரு, டிசைன் கம்யூனிட்டி. ஸோ டிசைனிங், ஆண்டர்ப்ரனர்ஷிப் அப்படின்னு நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இன்றைக்கி ஜாக் ஆண்டோவோட பேச போகிறோம். He is now heading M2P Fintech for design and marketing, right? So we have Sir Ashish Agarwal from HDFC Bank. He heads GIGA Banking, right? So this is quite new. So it's for the gig economy. You have come up with something like this, which will help a lot of freelancers here to manage their finances. We'll talk more about it. Now we have Pooja here. Pooja is the driving force behind the Love Hope company. ரொம்ப வித்தியாசமான ஒரு ஸ்டார்ட்-அப் வேர் they provide therapy and emotional intelligence பற்றி இதை பற்றிலாம் நிறைய விஷயங்கள் நம்ம இன்றைக்கி பேச போகிறோம். Hopefully we'll have more to discuss on this. So now let's get into the conversation. Before that, please give them a big hand. Double it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. So now, first of all, எந்த ஒரு பிஸ்னஸாக இருந்தாலும், அது ஒரு சோலோப்ரூனராக இருந்தாலும், இல்லை ரொம்ப பெரிய கம்பெனியாக நம்ம ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணாலுமே, அந்த பிகினிங் ஸ்டேஜில் ஐடியா பயங்கரமாக இருக்கும். பட் ஆனால் எங்கே போகிறோம் அப்படின்றது தெரியாது. ஒரு எவ்வளோ தூரம் நம்ம போகிறோம் அப்படின்றது ரொம்ப அன்சர்டனிட்டி அப்படின்றது நிறையா இருக்கும். ஸோ நீங்கள் எல்லாருமே வந்து அந்த ஸ்டேஜில் இருந்திருப்பீங்க. நவ் வி ஹாவ் பிஸ்னஸ் ஓனர்ஸ் ஹியர். வி ஆல்சோ ஹாவ் சம்மன் ஹூ பில்ட் அ கம்யூனிட்டி, seen so many businesses thrive and also face challenges, and we have solutions providers here. You would have seen business owners struggling here as well. So can you share, what was your journey like when you started up, and then how did you grow? Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I'm audible. All right. So first of all, I'm so humble to be here. I gotta say that first, because இங்கே இருக்கிற நிறையா பேரை வந்து I've looked up to them, and I just want to say everything that I'm going to say in this discussion is prescriptive information. So எல்லாமே என்னோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்லன்னு சொல்கிறேன். I'm very new to this field. So I'm still new, I would say. நீங்கள் எப்போ ஆரம்பிச்சிங்கன்னு கேட்டிங்க. So I was having a full-time job. I was working in Zoho, and அந்த டைமில் I just want to do something else other than my job. Appo I never wanted to be a creator, I never wanted to be an entrepreneur, எனக்கு அதை பற்றி எதுவுமே தெரியாது. But somehow, while I was discovering other things that I can do other than a full-time job, I didn't know freelancing, honestly. இங்கே இருக்கிற நிறைய பேருக்கு might know more of freelancing than me. So appo I tried to do stand-up comedy, I tried to do a lot of different things, and appo I came into this content creation. And initially, இப்படி ஒரு community, or I didn't know where to go. Appo my only source of knowledge consumption was YouTube. And that's my primary first ever friend for me. So I tried to watch a lot of videos, and then அதில் பார்த்து இங்கே இருக்கிற நிறைய ஸ்பீக்கர்ஸ் கிட்ட I personally texted them asking for a job. Like for real, இங்கே இருக்கிற எல்லார்கிட்டையுமே I've texted once like, Anna, can I meet you? Sir, can I meet you? And அந்த மாதிரி I've tried to reach out to a lot of people. So weekdays I would be working in my office, and weekend I will schedule a meet and meet those people, and then I would gain a lot of insights from them. And appadi konjama start panni people and the YouTube helped me a lot in the initial journey. Yeah.
Okay, thank you Sangeetha, and thanks panelist, and thanks for being here. So of course it all started ஒரு சின்ன ஸ்பார்க்லாம் இல்லை. நான் as usual ஒரு regular designer. So being a designer, இந்த நிறைய ஒர்க் இருந்துகிட்டே இருக்கும். அப்போது நம்மளால் என்ன பண்ணணும்னு தெரியாது. ஸோ ஐ ஸ்டார்டட் ஒரு சின்ன கம்பெனியில் போய் சேர்ந்தேன். ஸோ அப்போ வந்து ஐ ஹேட் திஸ் தாட், நமக்கே இந்த சாட்டர்டே சண்டே லீவே கிடைக்க மாட்டேங்குது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு வருத்தம் இருந்தது. ஸோ அதுக்காக என்னோடய தேர்ட் கம்பெனி நான் போய் சேரும்போது எந்த கம்பெனியில் சாட்டர்டே ஹாலிடே இருக்கோ அந்த கம்பெனியில் தான் போய் சேரணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு போய் சேர்ந்தேன். ஸோ ஆஸ் யூஷுவல் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் கூட ஊர் சுற்றுறது, சாட்டர்டே சண்டே ஆனால் பாண்டிச்சேரி போகிறது. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி சில நல்ல வேலையெல்லாம் செஞ்சுட்டு இருக்கும்போது என்னோட ஃபவுண்டர் in the sense he was my founder முன்னாடி. he called and asked me, அவருக்கு ஒரு சின்ன ஹேபிட் இருக்கும், his name is Anant. அவர் கேட்டதுன்னா, இந்த சாட்டர்டே சண்டே நீ என்ன பண்ணுவ அப்படின்னு ஆரம்பிச்சது. ஸோ அங்கேருந்து ஆரம்பித்தது தான் கம்யூனிட்டி கால் மெட்ராஸ்டர்ஸ். ஸோ there are a lot of engineersக்கு தேவையான கம்யூனிட்டிஸ் இருக்குது, பட் there is no community for designers. So you are good at speaking, you are good at convincing people, you could able to do little marketing, but why are you not telling your talent to the people or trying to tell there is a gap in the domain? How do you say that? ஸோ அப்படி ஆரம்பித்த ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி. ஸோ மண்டே ஆனால் ஓடிடுவேன், ஏன்னா ஏதாவது கொஸ்டின் கேட்பாருன்றதுக்காக ஓடிடுவேன். ஸோ ஓடி ஒரு இடத்துல எங்கே நிற்கிறேன்னு தெரியாமல் அவர் கண்டுபிடிச்சிட்டாரு. ஸோ தட் ஆல் இட் ஸ்டார்டட். ஸோ பட் it also had a small pain point because இன்னைக்கு ஐ திங்க் நிறைய பேருக்கு நிறைய விஷயங்கள் ரொம்ப ஈஸியாக கிடைக்குது பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் த டெக்னாலஜி. பட் டூரிங் தோஸ் டேஸ் லைக் 16 years முன்னாடி வந்து ஐ ஒர்க் இன் அ கம்பெனி வேர் இஃப் ஐ நீட் டு ஆக்சஸ் அ கூகுள் தென் ஐ ஹவ் டு கோ டு another system to access a Google. Right, so those are the days because it's a small agency, and if you want to learn design from the senior, it will be like நம்ம இப்போ போய் மோகன் சொன்ன மாதிரி தான் ஒரு அசிங்கம் நடக்கும். ரைட், ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள், ஏய் உனக்கு இது கூட தெரியாதா எந்திரி அப்படின்றாங்க. they'll sit in my chair and then they'll do my design and they say it is your design. So it is a hurt for a designer. So design should be taught because it's more like it's a simple way to teaching. ஏன்னா நம்ம ரொம்ப ஈஸியாக கற்றுக்க முடியும், புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டா ரொம்ப ஈஸி. டிசைன் ஹேஸ் டு பி சிம்பிள். ஸோ இந்த பெயின் இருந்துகிட்டே இருந்தது. ஸோ ஹவு கேன் வி டீச் த டொமைன் ஈஸிலி, ஹவு கேன் வி ஷேர் அவர் நாலேஜ் ஈஸிலி? ஸோ அப்படி ஆரம்பிச்சு இன்னொரு பெயின் பாயிண்ட். திஸ் ஆர் த டூ ரீசன் வை ஐ ஸ்டார்டட் த கம்யூனிட்டி. நவ் டுடே வி ஆர் வெரி ஆக்டிவ் அண்ட் வி ஆர் வெரி ஹாப்பி ஃபார் இட். நிறைய பேருக்கு வந்து கம்யூனிட்டி தெரியுது, ப்ளஸ் மோஸ்ட் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்லி பீப்புள் ஆர் லேர்னிங் ஃப்ரம் த கம்யூனிட்டி. இன்றைக்கி நான் ஒரு 10-15 பேரை மீட் பண்ண, எல்லாரும் சொன்னாங்க உங்கள் கம்யூனிட்டியில் இந்த ஸ்பெசிஃபிக் platform is very helpful for us. We are building portfolio because we are participating in that platform. So we feel very bad. So unlike on the pain, inniki there are people getting benefited is like happy for us.
Yeah, no, I think Anto and Epaphra really covered the topics really well, and I can speak more from. Yeah. Yeah, we at PayGlocal work a lot with the freelancer community. So for me, it's more about the stories we've heard. It's more about, the experience I've heard from the freelancers that we work with. I think one thing that comes out really clearly is that those initial few days when you've just started out, it's almost like, it is entrepreneurship, right? It is a form of entrepreneurship, and it can be very overwhelming. It is a lonely journey in those initial days. How to manage your payments, which is what we help with, how to manage your taxation, what should I put on my invoice. Like small things can feel very big, and like you're up against a lot of things. So in those days, I think going back to what Epaphra was saying, just that community helps a lot. Like that's what we've seen work really well with our freelancers, that they have a small, big, whatever it may be, but they have people that they can depend upon, whom they can ask questions to, can be free with without judgment. So I think building that small cluster of people in those initial few days is critical. We've seen that really help, people who've just started out cross that J curve and sort of grow fast from there. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
First of all, thanks a lot for having us. And as a bank, I can just tell you that it's very heartening to see so many freelancers on a Sunday afternoon coming and attending this. And that is what we always believed when we started GIGA Banking. We are the first bank who has provided a specific banking program for freelancers, because we felt that this is one segment which is definitely going to grow. And the banking products largely are either for the salaried or for the business people. But this is what we call as a missing middle in this thing. So we just wanted to help this community grow big and help freelancers manage their money. Let them earn, we'll manage their money. That's what we always believe.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah, Pooja.
Yeah. So I started Love Hope because of my personal experience. So I am a depression survivor and I still battle with anxiety. In spite of having education in like good schools and good colleges, எனக்கு வந்து mental health என்ற வார்த்தை நான் வந்து கேள்விப்பட்டது கிடையாது. I've never heard about depression, anxiety or anything of that sort until and unless I went into that phase, right? So the fact that finding what I was going through was very difficult for me. அதுக்கப்புறம் இதுக்கு ஹெல்ப் இருக்கா இல்லையா யார்கிட்ட போய் பேசணும் எனக்கு I didn't know there were people called as psychologists, psychiatrists or psychiatristனா வந்து மாத்திரை கொடுப்பாங்க தூங்க வைப்பாங்க. This was my basic understanding about mental health. But when I started therapy for myself because I was extremely helpless, I understood a lot of gaps in terms of lack of awareness, in terms of people's knowledge about what therapy can do. அதோட ஸ்டிக்மா அது எல்லாமே நான் ஸ்லோவாக அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் பண்ணும்போது ஐ யூஸ்ட் மை சோஷியல் மீடியா பிளாட்ஃபார்ம் டு ஷேர் மை ஸ்டோரிஸ் வெரி ஆத்தென்டிக்லி பிகாஸ் ஐ வேர் ஆல் தட் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் as my armor. I don't feel bad that I went through any of that, and that's how I feel people should perceive as well. So initially இதை பற்றி வந்து I started out as an NGO in 2019. This was way before COVID. So இப்போ வந்து மென்டல் ஹெல்த் பற்றி எல்லாரும் பேசுகிறோம். It's become very common, but அப்போ வந்து people hardly engage on those conversations, right? So NGO-வா ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணி ஒர்க் பண்ண ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணும்போது தான் COVID happened, the awareness happened. But every time I spoke about mental health or when we were doing anything, ஒரு common statement that constantly வந்துட்டு இருந்தது என்னன்னா வந்துட்டு இந்த மாதிரி ஒர்க் வந்து சர்வீஸை தான் பண்ணணும், இந்த மாதிரி விஷயத்தை வந்து you can't make money out of it or you can't build a business out of it ன்னு சொல்லும்போது that kind of like why would you say that? In the sense, when a psychologist is doing a service for someone, right, when they're providing a service in therapy, they shy away from charging for the service that they provide. So they also do a lot of freelancing work. So அந்த கம்யூனிட்டியை வந்து ஆர்கனைஸ்டாக ஒரு ஆர்கனைசேஷன் மாதிரி ரன் பண்ணோன்ட்டு தான் was the core motive of starting Love Hope Company. Changing the experience of people who are suffering, changing the way that people look at mental health in the first way, bringing in a positive narrative to it, making it more normal that anyone and everyone can go through it and there's nothing to feel bad about. So that is why we named the company the Love Hope Company. Because I feel as humans, end of the day, these two things can only drive you to have love in your life, to love yourself, to love people around you, to love life in general. And everyone goes through highs and lows. And every time you go to the low, one thing that will always make you fight is to hold on to hope. So either render with any kind of service that we provide, we wanted to give it to people, and that is how Love Hope started. So it came with its own set of challenges. Like we have a space in T-Nagar. Epaphra has come to a space. Space set பண்ணும்போது நிறைய இடத்துல வந்து இந்த மாதிரி மென்டல் ஹெல்த் கம்பெனி ஒன்று ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ண போகிறோம், சைக்காலஜிஸ்ட் பண்ண போகிறோன்ற போது 2 big challenge. One, a woman doing it. Second, அப்போ இங்கே எந்த மாதிரி ஆளுங்க வருவாங்க, நீங்கள் கை காலெலாம் கட்டி போட்டுருவீங்களா, ரூமில் லாக் பண்ணியிருப்பீங்க. தேர் அவுட்லுக் ஆஃப் மென்டல் ஹெல்த் இஸ் வெரி ரொம்ப அலார்மிங்கான ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்ஸ் தான் வந்து வைப்பாங்க. இதுக்காகவே இது வந்து விடாமல் வந்து ட்ரை பண்ணோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு 1 year, it took me an entire year to just look for a space in Chennai to start something like this. அதுவே வந்து எனக்கு வந்து கண்டிப்பாக பண்ணியே ஆகணும். நோ மேட்டர் வாட், வி நீட் டு மேக் திஸ் ஹேப்பன். இட் டசன்ட் மேட்டர் பிக் ஸ்பேஸ், ஸ்மால் ஸ்பேஸ், பட் கிரியேட் அ ஸ்பேஸ், டூ சம்திங் ஆன் திஸ் லைன், make people feel empowered to talk about what they're going through in a very different narrative. So this was what that pushed me to find my purpose, and that's how Love Hope was started.
Beautiful. So இங்கே இருக்க எல்லாரும் at some stage, ஃப்ரீலான்சரோட ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருப்பீங்க, ஒரு ப்ராஜெக்ட் அவங்களுக்கு கொடுத்துருப்பீங்க. ஸோ டைரெக்டாக பாயிண்ட்டுக்கு வந்துடுவோமே. என்றைக்குமே ஃபஸ்ட்டு வந்து எதை பண்ணக்கூடாது அப்படின்றது தெரிஞ்சது பெட்டர் தேன் என்னென்ன பண்ணணும் அப்படின்றது. ஸோ இப்படி ஒர்க் பண்ணும்போது நம்மளுக்கு வந்து சில மிஸ்டேக்ஸ்லாம் அவங்க பண்ணும்போது இது மட்டும் அவங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருதுன்னா இவங்க வேறு லெவலில் வந்து பெர்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணலாமே, அது ரூக்கி மிஸ்டேக்காக இருந்தாலும் சில விஷயங்கள்லாம் பட்டு தான் தெரியணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. இதெல்லாம் வந்து நம்ம அவாய்ட் பண்ணிட்டாலே பெட்டர். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி வந்து என்னென்னலாம் மிஸ்டேக்ஸ் வந்து ஃப்ரீலான்சர்ஸ் பண்ணுறதை நீங்கள் பார்த்துருக்கீங்க, இதை இவங்க அவாய்ட் பண்ணிட்டாங்க அப்படின்னா தென் இட் பிகம்ஸ் ஈஸியர் ஃபார் தெம் டு க்ரோ. அது மைண்ட் செட்டாக இருக்கட்டும், சர்டன் ப்ராசஸஸ் அண்ட் சிஸ்டம்ஸாக இருக்கட்டும். நீங்கள் எதை மெயினாக பார்க்குறீங்க when you work with freelancers? Yeah, let's start with your
All right, so I work with a lot of contract workers, freelancers. Especially, I hire a lot of editors and writers because we primarily create videos, and that's the people we work with. And என்ன பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் நான் பார்த்த வரைக்கும் இந்த ஒரு 2 விஷயம் பண்ணாங்கனாலே I think a lot of business owners would be happy to pay them 10x more money, genuinely. So first would be communicating better. So the communication as in language la illa, but if they want to deliver a video on 2 days abdina, it's fine if they can't make it. It's fine if they can't make it, but ada or information or time pass panni idu delay aiduche, this is the reason, and they should be more proactive. Namma kettu avanga kudukradhoda avangale panntaangana that reduces half the hassle. So that is one primary thing. And இன்னொன்று நான் இப்போ கற்றுக்கிற ஒரு விஷயம் என்னென்னா the art of creating offers. So that's what I want to really talk about, because lot of people here can do the exact same work but get paid very differently. It's entirely because of how you offer, how you position yourself. So we all focus on getting how to get good at one skill. It could be writing, it could be editing. அதிலே நம்ம 90% effort போடுறோம், but what we're missing is we also want to understand how are we going to position in front of our clients. We could do the entirely ஒரே விஷயம் பண்ணாலுமே with little tweaks we can actually charge much higher. So ஒரு client sideல இருந்து பார்க்கும்போது like ஒரு agency owner பார்க்கும்போது they are actually saving money if the freelancers aren't aware of these things. But from a freelancer perspective, let's say you are a writer, it's fine, you are writing this, but also understand where this writing goes after you give it to me. And adula or input koduthu proactive if they help us holistically na, it's very hard for me to replace him. So try everything that's possible to make you irreplaceable. I think that would sort them in so many ways. Yeah.
Okay, so first வந்து as a freelancers வந்து quantity over quality தான் we have to focus, because நிறைய பேர் வந்து நிறைய freelancer first thought is like can I have quick 1,000 rupees or quick 2,000 rupees. Like that's lot of effort. You're going to put the same on the 2,000 rupees, you can also get it for 20,000 rupees or even 2 lakh rupee. But how do you define that quality? So that if you decide that first, so that you don't work with multiple people, you work with one regular set of people. So I'll come to the second point, is that how you don't want to leave the first client, because freelancers are not great marketers. Freelancers sort of marketing it's one-on-one communication, morely like word-to-word communication. So your clients are the one who's going to refer the next client. So your first client till your like 50, 60 or 100 clients, it should be the order should be the same, and you should treat them as the same. That is something I've seen it in couple of my friends. So quality, don't go on the quantity. Second is the make sure your customer retains with you, always with you, so that he refers multiple people.
Yeah. Pooja, what do you think?
So I think mindset is very important. Understanding the value that you bring to the table. So it's not just about the value of the work that you do, but or confidence that yes, I as a freelancer am adding value to this, right? I think with my experience working, I think that or a hunch irukon thonudhu, but they're not very confident with what they do, right? So I think they need to start looking from a perspective that they're not working for someone. They are partners for startups or any business, but they're trying to uplift whatever service or products that they're selling, right? So ivangaloda work adds so much value to it. And trying to have holistic understanding about ipo in the company oda work pandrona, not just focusing on okay இந்த தண்ணி பாட்டில் அவங்க விற்க போறாங்க அப்படின்னு இல்லாமல், like we all know இப்போ anything that you want to sell or talk about has to have a story, has to have a narrative. So understanding the holistic picture of why did this person choose to do this in the first place, who are the target audience, what are they trying, what is the impact that they're trying to give, what is this going to add value to the customer, and why this company. இப்போ நான் ஏன் இதை இவங்க கிட்ட வாங்கணும், இது ஏன் எனக்கு தேவை அப்படின்ற நேரட்டிவ்லாம் வந்துட்டு ரொம்ப க்ளோஸாக அந்த கம்பெனிஸோடையோ அந்த ஃபவுண்டர்ஸோடையோ இல்லை அந்த டீமோட ஒர்க் பண்ண தான் they can gain that knowledge. This will again come with time and patience that they give towards that particular project that they're taking. ஒன்று கேட்டிருக்காங்க டக்குன்னு கொடுக்கணும்னு இல்லாமல் இவங்களுக்கு என்ன நம்ம வந்து யூனிக்காக ப்ரொவைட் பண்ணலான்றப்போ இவங்க ரெண்டு பேருமே சொன்ன மாதிரி you don't have to go behind a lot of people, you don't have to focus on the quantity, you can just retain the best that you do and focus on the quality of work that you provide, which will give like 10x and 20x of more than what you get with 10 other people.
Yeah, understand and become a part of the business. That leads to confidence, that leads to your confidence in them, right? Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I think building on what Pooja was saying, right, really being able to bat on your front foot and believing in the quality of the work that you're creating. I think one thing that I see very closely is we have a lot of freelancers who come to us initially saying, I'm focusing on India, I think I'll start out here, I'll test, how my product or creative or content does in the local market, and then I'll take it global. But I think one thing we fail to realize is that probably the Indian freelancer community is considered probably the best quality globally. We generate content, it's highly respected across multiple markets. So I think having the confidence to really start and be like, I think what I am creating is of global quality, I think I should go directly to customers around the world and be able to one, significantly increase your income and significantly increase the margins that you're able to make on that. Additionally, build that brand, right? That I'm not just a local business, I'm building for the world. I think that confidence makes a huge difference. I've seen that be a gap initially in the early days. But then once you cross that first customer, that first international transaction that really comes through, we've seen that joy of knowing that I can scale on the back of this. And ensuring that, all the complications, like Ashish would obviously agree, in terms of managing all the payments, managing taxation, leave that to, I think, or work with partners who can enable you to do that. But know that I think the quality of the work you're creating is really world class, and bat on the front foot of that.
See, I can just tell one thing, that the freelancing world is an emerging thing, right? And what we have experienced and what we are seeing in this space is that getting the work was one of the major challenges that people had as to, in case if they want to start freelancing, then how they are going to source the work. Now, we have realized and we have come across that there are a lot of platforms that are available now who are providing freelancers, and they're acting as a bridge between the companies or the corporates and the freelancers. So earlier you used to have a Naukri.com, etc. for formal jobs. Now you have platforms like Freelancer, Reference, etc. who are providing. So please make use of those particular platforms. And geography is no longer a barrier. We are working with a lot of startups, and we work with a lot of incubators, educational-based incubators who incubate startups. And what we feel, if you have the right talent, you please approach and tie up with those particular platforms. Work is not at all a problem. It's just that you need to get to the right partners, you need to be connected to the right kind of people or ecosystem that is there. And this particular work is going to increase only. And what we estimate in one of the reports we were reading, that by 2030 more than 5% of the formal workforce will shift to the freelancing. So this is a growing space, and just keep your hopes up, you will definitely get work.
Great. So in the question enna freelancing main freelancing or illa endha service business liyo எல்லாத்துக்கும் நம்ம எஸ் சொல்லிடுவோம், ரைட்? எவ்வளோ ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ் வருதோ அது எல்லாத்தையும் எடுத்துக்குவோம். அதுக்கப்புறமா வந்து முடிக்க முடியாமல் பயங்கரமாக திணறுவோம். வில் ஆல் கெட் பர்ன்ட் அவுட். ஒன்று ஐ திங்க் தமிழ்நாட்டிலேயே நம்மளுக்கு வந்து எஸ் சொல்கிறது ஒரு காமனான பழக்கம்னு நினைக்கிறேன். தோ ஹியூமிலிட்டி இஸ் ஒன் திங், யூனோ. தெர் இஸ் another திங் as in, யூனோ, எத்தனை பிஸ்னஸஸ் உள்ளே வருதோ அவ்வளோ பெட்டர். இல்லாட்டி வந்து ஐ ஹாவ் டு கோ அண்ட் ஹண்ட் ஃபார் மோர் கிளையன்ட்ஸ். ஏன்னா அவ்வளோ இருந்தால் தான் என்னால் நெக்ஸ்ட் என்னோடய பில்ஸ் எல்லாம் பே பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்ற ப்ரெஷரும் அதில் இருக்குது, ரைட்? ஸோ இப்படி இருக்கும்போது ஹவு தே ஆர் சப்போஸ் டு கீப் தியர் மென்டல் ஹெல்த் ஸ்டேபிள். அது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் எப்படி தே ஹாவ் டு செட் பவுண்ட்ரிஸ், ஹவு டு ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் த என்டையர் திங். So we can talk more about it. So we'll start with Pooja here. That is ideal.
See, burnout in the vishayam and it's become very common for anyone, like be it entrepreneurs, be it freelancers, be it whoever it is. I think it's again because as Indians we're so used to overworking. I'm not even getting into the work-life balance, but குவாலிட்டியை ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணாமல் நான் நிறைய ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறேன், நான் வந்து நைட்டெல்லாம் முழிச்சு வந்து வேலை பார்க்குறேன். தட் இஸ்
அதில் ஒரு பெருமை வேறு.
தட்ஸ் பிகம் லைக், ஓகே நான் ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறேன்னா நான் வந்து தூக்கத்தை சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பண்ணணும், என் ஹெல்த்தை சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பண்ணணும். தட் இஸ் ஈக்குவல் டு மீ ஒர்க்கிங் ஹார்ட். பட் வாட் இஸ் தி அவுட்புட் ஆஃப் தட் ஹார்ட் ஒர்க்? That is not something we're focusing. When you start putting, I recently saw a podcast of Nikhil Kamath where he addressed this, where he spoke about, நாங்கள் ஒரு டிஸ்கஷனில் அவங்கள உட்காந்து பேசும்போது, ஒரு நாள் நான் 9 hours ஒர்க் பண்ணுறேன்னா ஆக்சுவலாக என்னோடய ஒர்க்குக்கு நான் எவ்வளோ ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணி பண்ணுறேன்னு பார்க்கும்போது இட்ஸ் ஹார்ட்லி 45 minutes. அதுக்கப்புறம் இருக்கிறது எல்லாமே வந்து நம்ம இன்செக்யூரிட்டியை வந்து பெட்டர் ஆக்குறதுக்காக, டு மேக் அஸ் ஃபீல் செக்யூர், வி ஃபோக்கஸ் மோர் ஆன் த டைம் தேன் த குவாலிட்டி. That is why burnout happens. So I think having more focus and clarity on the work that we are doing, why we are doing, and what we are, another the value under points on that, right? When you understand the value, when you understand the worth of what you are putting to the table, you will have a better structure. When you have a better structure, having the balance is important. We all talk about consistency being the key, but you can only be consistent when you find the balance to do what you want to do in life. And at this point of time, எதுக்குமே ரஷ் கிடையாது. நம்மளா எடுத்துக்கிறது தான். இன்றைக்கி நான் 100 கோடி பண்ணணும், 1 கோடி பண்ணணும், 1 லட்சம் பண்ணணும், 50,000 பண்ணணுன்றது, இட்ஸ் ஆல் த டார்கெட்ஸ் தட் யூ செட். இட் இஸ் ஆல் டூவபிள் ப்ரொவைடட் யூ ஹாவ் அ கன்சிஸ்டன்ட் பிளான் டு கெட் தேர், வேர் யூ ஃபைண்ட் அ பேலன்ஸ் பிட்வீன் ஹெல்த் அண்ட் யோர் ஒர்க் தட் யூ டூ. பிகாஸ் அட்லீஸ்ட் என்னோட அப்பா ஜென்ரேஷனில் இருக்கிற நிறைய ஆண்டர்ப்ரனர்ஸ் நான் வந்து who have succeeded, one common statement that I hear when they get to the point of being very successful is, உங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது ரிக்ரெட் இருக்கான்னு கேட்டால் there are 2 things. One, they always say, I wish I spent more time with my family. Second, I wish I took care of my health so I could have enjoyed what I've built today. That is a huge lesson that we could take away, right? So burnt out-ஆக ஃபீல் பண்ணுறது, இல்லை வந்து டைமுக்கான வேல்யூ கொடுக்காம ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் பண்ணுறது வந்து, is that what we want to do into question mark? We need to ask ourselves in the first place.
Good. So இப்போது அவங்க டைம் பற்றி பேசினாங்க, யூனோ, மேக்கிங் ஷுர் தட் யூ ஹேவ் டைம் ஃபார் ஃபேமிலி அண்ட் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ்னு எடுத்துக்கலாம். ஸோ இதை எப்படி ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் பண்ணுறது? நீங்கள் டிசைனர்ஸ் கூட ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க இல்லையா? now designers, when they become business owners, right, you know, a lot of things change. ஸோ அந்த இடத்துல நீங்கள் எப்படி பார்க்குறீங்க? how to manage time, how to bring a structure to your work so that யூ பிகம் ப்ராஃபிட்டபிள் அண்ட் அந்த ஒரு பின்னாடி அந்த பயம் இருந்துகிட்டே இல்லாமல் இருக்கிறது?
Okay, so first question is like being from the south, we will always say yes, because that's our culture. We never have this thought of saying no to people, and we've been grown up in that segment. So it's more like a marabu that the vadakku romba kashtam. And maybe once you come into the life, once you become little experienced, and once you know which is good and bad, then I think you started saying no. Once you become like really important to that situation, then you started saying no. So because adu nammaloda marabu maatha romba kashtam, because we've been used to that. And second question on the balance. So balance comes with process. So I think process is nothing but like, of course nama 10th 12th la padicha flow chart mari dhaan, like you know you have to put a chart for your life. Adu vandu இன்னைக்கு இருக்கிற early adopters are doing it, which means like they have enough money in the bank or their family is doing very well, and this is more like I love what I do because I want to enjoy my life. They have the process. But there is another segment where like the first time entrepreneurs or like the family first entrepreneurs, even the larkme, there is a I want to do something in life. Abhinambodhu, of course you don't have a choice, right? Because there is already a train that is going really fast, and the train will stop, which is like munnadi odna sila team, you have to run and catch them. So which means you have to stretch a lot and then you have to go and catch them. So that is by invite irukku. So adu odakradhukku I think they are doing that stretch. They will do the stretch, and adu nammalaala stop panna mudiyadhu. But if the stretch along with the process, I think I always tell it to my team, whatever you do, trust in process, because today you will do some more like a puzzled work. Tomorrow when you see it in the top, hey, I could have done it in better way. But when you start putting that process in system, for example, hey, let me wake up a little early, let me do little workout to my body, and then let me start my day with fresh. And it starts with once I get up early, or like when I early once I wake up, the bed sheets madichu vekkadhula irundhu, right? So that is something, a process that everybody has to do it. And I didn't do it in the day one. Let me be pretty honest, right? So of course I used to stretch my entire life. Whatever I've earned today is because of thanks to freelancing. Whatever I have, my first bike is freelancing, my first laptop is freelancing. Of course 80% of my first flat is freelancing, right? Because I have to stretch, because my father is not that rich, of course he is a government employee, so this stretch is everywhere. But today I'm a little relaxed, meaning because I identified myself like, hey, let me put a process to my life, and I spend a lot of time with my family. I predominantly try to avoid Saturdays and Sundays for work. I want to be with my family, especially with my kids, because today's nurturing kid is the best thing that you do it for the nation. So that is something I strongly believe, and so process is something I always tell to people, hey, it can be various of process, but put your process and follow the process. No matter whatever it is a failure process also fine, but stay in the process.
Great. So Epaphra, I want you to answer this specifically, right? Have you ever said no to a client, and how was the experience?
Oh, okay. So initially எல்லாத்துக்கும் எஸ் சொல்லிடுவேன். Like if you ask anything, I would try to say yes, because I was a legit people pleaser, for sure. Because I couldn't see them disappointing in front of me.
That must have cost you.
Yeah, it costed. So I would say yes, and then I would try to do the work for them. அப்புறம் வந்து ஏண்டா இது பண்ணோன்னு I would have a lot of regret. But yeah, ஓரளவுக்கு I pushed through it. And I wouldn't say, even while I was a freelancer, I wouldn't say I had the courage to say no. Genuinely, I didn't have the courage. But only after we have a team of 5 to 6 people, இப்போ வந்து a lot of people find me as a person like who says a lot of no, genuinely. So because now that we have a team in place and everything, there are 2 ways to say no. I don't know if it's the right way to do it, but one would be if director avangita, this is what we do, and if this doesn't align with what we provide or what you expect from us, illana if you don't have the bandwidth abdina, we would say no. Or else the quick hack would be
Any example that you
Yeah, I come to that. So, or else a quick hack that you can do is you don't want to do it firstly, right? That's why you want to say no. So, if you want to do it, then price your service insanely high. So, whenever there is a brand deal, or even, I don't want to take my clients as an example, I love them. So, so feel free to work with me anytime. But I'll take brands as an example, and if a brand has a lot of expectation from me, you post the reel, it should go 1 million. You post the reel and Amitabh Bachchan should watch it. I can't do it. But if you want me to do it, I would ask insanely high amount that would make them shy away and never ever come back to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good. So, coming to specifically payments, right? Yours isn't to PayGlocal makes global payments easier, right? So, can you talk about where there are payment difficulties that exist when it comes to freelancing, and then how they can structure things so that they can make things easier?
No, 100%. And I think it really ties into the conversation we're having, which is, a lot of our reactionary nature of saying yes to everything and all of that comes from a point of fear, right? Like we're scared we'll lose money, we're scared we'll not make enough income that month. So I think working and like focusing on the things that you're clear on and working with experts, platforms on things that you're unaware of really helps in managing the processes here. Specifically regarding payments, one thing we've seen is this fear of going global, right? Just because they don't know how will I collect from a global customers, will they trust me who's an individual sitting in India? Why would somebody from US pay me? Who should be the third party in between, etc. So there's the fear of that we see typically. For that, one solution obviously is working with a platform in the initial days, building your brand, and then starting to build your personal brand on independent platforms. So that's something we've seen work well. But on the other hand, there's also intricacies to the actual payment itself, right? So when there's a cross-border payment that happens, there's multiple banks involved, there's a forex conversion that has to happen, whether it be from USD to INR or Euro to INR. So one thing we've seen is a lot of freelancers are not even aware that there's something called an FX conversion, right? So we've had people come to us and say, I got charged $1 on this transaction, and they think that's the entire cost. But then we break it down for them to say, this was $1,000 payment, let's say, and the dollar was priced at 86 rupees that day. When we go into the details, you'll see that, the bank actually converted, or, the actual conversion that was applied was 83 rupees or 83.5 rupees. That's latent hidden charges that's sitting there. And this is again the fear of the unknown, right? You don't know what's happening in the back end, and transparency is really important for you to build processes. So that's where PayGlocal comes in, where we provide a fully transparent platform for freelancers to accept global payments. We give them their own virtual account. So any individual freelancer can open a virtual account with us. It's a USD, Euro, CAD, GBP virtual accounts. It's in their own name. It's local. So in the US, it's like having your own US bank account. In UK, it's like having your own UK account. It not only builds trust with whoever you're working with, right? For them, it's comfortable seeing a Barclays bank account to pay into rather than, an Indian bank account. So it helps build that layer of trust. Second, it saves massively in FX costs, and even the customer pays a lot less. So that ability to take away the fear that I'm working with this unknown set of transactions and banks in the back end, and having clear visibility that this is how much money I'm charging, this is exactly how much I'll get in my account. We've seen that work wonders for this particular community. And I think going back to the point of just when you're scaling this business, there's so many unknowns, really important to focus on, like Bezos says, what makes your beer taste better, right? Like focus on that and let the other things be managed through processes, through tools, through platforms that can help you. I think that makes a significant difference.
Sir, so this GIGA Banking, right? Something that helps people manage their finances better. So we are actually talking about setting up structures and making sure that things fall in place so that you can focus on your work. That's what is more important, because when it comes to services, they can't really put efforts on each and everything. So what are your suggestions?
No, absolutely. So what we realized when we did the market research, and one of the key findings of the research was that people don't get the banking products, as I told earlier also, and starting with as basic as a credit card, because the banks generally will either ask for a salary slip or a proof of establishment if you're a businessman. But as a freelancer, you don't even have a fixed office, right? And you don't have a salary slip because your cash flows are irregular. So we had to do something so that the basic banking products are also made available to them. So that's where the policy level changes were brought in, and along with a GIGA bank account, it's a savings account. So we call it as an individual savings account. Generally a savings account is an individual savings account. But here you can do, again the policy level changes, wherein you can do certain business transactions in a savings account, because you are an individual who's doing a business. So up to a certain threshold, you can actually continue doing your business. For example, local collections. If you are a businessman, you can actually collect your payments by a QR code. But as a freelancer, you require that. So we have linked QR code collections or online collections, which you can do it through a savings account. We have a Smart Hub Vyapar called a product, which you can integrate with your savings account. Then, as she mentioned about the online payments or coming from abroad, so we have tied up a platform like PayGlocal, which can help freelancers collect overseas payment. Then we have worked out banking products for auto loan, two-wheeler loan. Everywhere freelancer as a category has been incorporated. Then we tie up with platforms who are providing freelancers work, and in case if we are having a comfort, the credit comfort is there on the platform, we can actually do an invoice discounting for an invoice raised by a freelancer to the platform. So generally it takes 60 to 90 days for the invoice to come in. Until that time, they don't have money. So if the platform is confirming that the money is going to come up, we can discount that invoice and give the credit, upfront credit, 80% of the invoice can be given. Then we also found out on the social security front that people don't get, because if you're a salaried employee, right, you get corporate health insurance from your employer. And or if you're having a business and the company gives you. So we tied up and brought in a special health insurance product along with HDFC Argo, which allows the freelancers or the gig workers to take a corporate health insurance plan which is under GIGA brand. Then we curated certain offers which are very, very relevant for each and every freelancer. For example, she mentioned about invoicing. So we have a tie-up with Zoho for tax filing, etc., India filing. For legal related things, we have LegalWiz as a partner who's providing. Then we have partners who are providing discounts to freelancers for onboarding them on their platform. For mental healthness and other things for well-being, we have a tie-up with a few companies over there.
So basically everything that's personal finance as well as
anything that is required by a freelancer
is covered.
Be it financial, non-financial, we have covered.
Great. So now this is a little more personal, as in, we talked about creating value as a freelancer, right? Pooja spoke about it. Now, not only as a freelancer, as a business, right? Creating that value not only for the society at large, there is also this thing that you feel that, you've done something that made people around you proud or that changed their lives. அப்படின்ற மாதிரி உங்களுக்கு வந்து எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் இருக்கா? நான் இது பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கனால வந்து எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு. இந்த ஒரு சேஞ்ச் வந்து நான் கொண்டு வந்திருக்கேன், இந்த ஒரு வேல்யூ என்னால் கொடுக்க முடிஞ்சது அப்படின்றதுல ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். அது ஃபேமிலியாக இருக்கலாம், உங்களை சுற்றி இருக்கவங்களா இருக்கலாம், இல்லை உங்களோட கம்யூனிட்டிக்காக இருக்கலாம், இல்லை சொசைட்டி அட் லார்ஜாக இருக்கலாம், இல்லை பிஸ்னஸில் கிளைண்ட்ஸ்க்காக இருக்கலாம். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்ல முடியுமா?
So initially it used to be the messages that I receive and a lot of different things, but something that's very personal to me and something that I'm so proud of is in the last 2 months or in the last 2 to 3 months, I believe I helped my dad retire from his job. So that is something. Thank you. So because I completed college in 22 and then I joined Zoho, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had the luxury to quit my job. Now I'm in a place where I can help him do the things that he loves. So the impact that I made in my family is, they're from a very conventional background. my mom is a teacher, my dad works in Hyundai as a sales manager. So heavy targets, tough job. So now both of them has the liberty to do what they love, and my mom started to do some sari business, and my dad just named his company. It's called, if I'm not wrong, it's called Caretaker. Like caretaker, it's called Caretaker, and they just started their own business. So I don't think any other people who gets inspired or who get some kind of nudge from my content would have given me such kind of happiness than my own parents. So yeah, that's something closer to my heart.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so impact. One of my good friends, so he was part of the community, and he went on an interview with PayPal, and he got rejected. And he was little worried and things, and second time he applied, and of course thanks to community, so we had good friends in the companies, and we could able to tell him like he is part of this community. So then they went on a second round with him, and he got selected. So that was really helpful when he was part of the community. And there are a lot of people in my team, so specifically they take the frontman jobs in terms of conducting events, meetups and things. So all those folks they are following, they become as a personal brand experts. So people now follow them. They have like, when they initially joined, of course today the new social network is LinkedIn. So people now started value with like how many followers you have in LinkedIn. So that's how people value you. So now most of the folks who are with us now are like 6,000, 7,000 followers now, because they're coming into the show. One still remains me is like one of the good friend. He came as an intern to our team, and then he was having a stammering voice, and we said like, hey, going forward you have to do the MC. That was the challenge that we gave him, and today he did 3 times TEDx.
Oh, good. Very nice.
So he is in Bangalore. I don't want to mention his name. So he is a head of design at one company, and he came all the way from Tanjavur.
Super.
Okay, so those are the good moments that we have it, and we still connect. And he still says like, hey, my day started in Madrasa, so we are very happy for that.
Okay. Yeah, Pooja.
So for me, impact is very interesting because I'm not a psychologist. I don't provide therapy for anyone. But just the fact that people, again, through messages and when they come to our space, mention that just knowing that a space like this exists and just having the experience that we are getting out of the work that we're doing is saving lives, right? People, all of us might have friends and families and all of that around us. But I think biggest core reason for a lot of mental health issues is the fact that most of us feel lonely in spite of all the noise and people around us, right? Somewhere we all feel misunderstood. Somewhere we feel that we're not being heard or understood, or we don't have a space to express. But just setting a space for people to just be themselves and just expect nothing out of it. Complete acceptance for whoever you are, whatever you do. And setting up a team, setting up a space, and putting that smile on people's face, just giving them some hope in life, has changed my life more than anything. Because these were things that I was longing for, and I know there were many people like me who were longing for. So for just being able to do something like this on a regular basis for a living by itself, I think has impacted my life also more than just our clients coming in.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't know if I can point to a specific instance, but I'm a big believer in the whole India growth story. I really think, what gets created in India should be shown to the world, and that's what I get to do on a daily basis, right? To ensure that whether it be freelancers, exporters, we work with, larger brands and businesses as well, all of whom showcase Indian products and services to the globe. And so for me, that is the best kind of impact. And I would say while we work with all range of brands and companies and individuals, the best kind of messages and news that we hear is of people who went global with us, like who started their global business on our platform, who were only domestic till then, but experience the joy of that first international transaction. So I think that ability to make people make that sort of tectonic shift from being only domestic focused to now being a global brand, I love that aspect of the job.
So I think we've just started, and the initial feedback that we've got is something which is very phenomenal. But one particular guy really excites us more because he was a student. He started freelancing, and then he started a platform, and now he's providing work to other students. So I think it's really heartening to see when the student community is coming up and taking freelancing. And I think that's something which is really, really good. And if you're able to solve banking problem for people who are students and who are going to be the future earners and future employment generators, I think that is really heartening to see, and we will be more than happy. As our tagline says, GIGA's got your back, and we can assure you that we will have the back of all the freelancers in it.
Great. So this question is important, like personal branding. ஃப்ரீலான்சர்ஸ்க்கு முக்கியமாக இல்லையா, ஆல்ரெடி தே ஆர் பேட்டிங் ஸோ மெனி திங்ஸ், ரைட்? இதுக்கும் ஒரு தனி டைம் வைக்கணும். ஸோ வேணுமா இல்லையா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு குவிக்காக ஏன் வேணும் ஏன் இல்லை அப்படின்றத சொல்ல முடியுமா?
Alright, so to answer your question directly, in my field of business, I wouldn't say it's necessary, because if you have a solid proof of work, I think that is more than enough. If you have a personal brand, I think that would give you sustainable clients, like inbound clients ku adu help agum. But if enkita orthanga reach out panni like this is my writing or this is how my editing would look like, if they have a solid proof of work, maybe it could be client case studies, maybe it could be their sample scripts. If they have that in place, then I think it's an S for me.
So kattaya venonu recommend pannu?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, if the freelancers want to become as a founder, personal branding is needed. Today, it is much needed for them. So if you want to move your skill to the next level, without personal branding, I don't think so you can go, because today wherever you go, knock the doors, people should know who you are, rather you give your card.
Okay.
I think I agree with what Jack said.
Okay.
What do you want to do, what you're doing. And in the field there is already so many other people doing it. But why you? Being the person, consistent personal branding. Again, storytelling. Why it's you? Why are you doing it? How do you make a difference for them? But yeah, I think consistent personal branding would be helpful. It's much more easy.
Okay. In your experience, what do you think, sir? Personal branding is necessary?
101%, because until unless you are seen, nobody will know you that you exist. So you need to be visible. People need to know you, and people need to know what benefits you are giving, because today, unfortunately, the world is a lot of transactional world. So until unless you are able to offer a value and you are able to offer something which is tangible, people will not take. But end of the day, you need to be visible.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just add on to that. Fully agree with, I think, what was shared. Definitely it's important. I think it's important to know when to start working on it. It has to be a clear vision. I think it's in the early days, you're also figuring out your brand, right? So it's important to start putting it out into the world when you're clear that this is who I am, this is what I want to showcase. So start building that profile when you have that clarity on your own. The second benefit, I used to work in venture capital before this, and I've seen this more with founders, but personal brand significantly helps in team building. Right? So when you're in that space where you want to start hiring your own people, building out your team, I think that's when the effect of your personal brand really kicks in. So that's just one additional point.
Okay. So the question is for the audience. How many of you are on the way building a personal brand? நீங்க ஆல்ரெடி ஆயிருக்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை. எத்தனை பேர் ஆல்ரெடி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க? நல்லா கை தூக்கலாமே. ஓ, மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த ஆடியன்ஸ். யாரெல்லாம் இது வேணாம், இருக்கிறதே போதும், ஆல்ரெடி நான் நிறைய ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன், இது வேறையா அப்படின்னு நினைக்கிறீங்க? இல்லை, தைரியமாக எதுக்கும் கை தூக்கலாம், எந்த ஆன்சரும் தப்பு இல்லை. ரைட், குட். ஸோ இவர் சொன்ன மாதிரி நிறைய தடவை வந்து போர்ட்ஃபோலியோ இருந்தாலோ இல்லை ப்ரூஃப் ஆஃப் ஒர்க் இருந்தாலோ அதுவுமே உங்களுக்கு ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லாக தான் இருக்கும். ஸோ சில பேருக்கு இது கொஞ்சம் ப்ரெஷர் தான் இல்லையா? ரைட். ஸோ அகெயின் இட்ஸ் டோட்டலி அப் டு யூ வெதர் யூ டிசைட் டு கோ அஹெட் ஆர் not do this. ஃபைனலாக ஒரு கொஸ்டின் ஆஸ் அன் how do you scale? இத்தனை வேலையும் இருக்குது, இதையும் தாண்டி நான் மார்க்கெட்டிங்கும் பண்ணணும், நெக்ஸ்ட் லெவலுக்கு ஸ்கேல் பண்ணிகிட்டே இருக்கணும், எல்லாத்துக்கும் 24 மணி நேரம் தான் இருக்குது, ரைட்? how do you scale? Pooja.
Nothing happens overnight. I think the patience is very important, and just like what she said, right? In the personal branding, initial days it will be very difficult because you're trying to figure out your business. You're also putting yourself out there. Other again, one the algorithm based money. You have to get even more creative than what you have to put out. Right? But it'll all attract you not just the right kind of customers, but also the right kind of team, which will eventually speeden up your process to where you want to get. Initial stages will be difficult, and I think having the understanding that it takes time. அதில் நம்ம பெஸ்ட்டாக என்ன கொடுக்க முடியுமோ அதை வந்து ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜிக்காக பிளான் பண்ணுறது ஐ திங்க் இஸ் தி சஸ்டைனபிள் வே ஃபார்வர்ட்.
பொறுமை முக்கியம். Yeah, sir.
You could just translate it.
So I was asking, it's a service business. You've got only 24 hours. How do you scale? You have to do your own marketing and everything. So shorter, how do you scale?
So I personally believe you have so many social media tools, so you don't require, you need to be present in social media, plus I'm sure your work will speak for yourself. Associate with the right partners, be at the right social media platforms, and I'm sure the word to mouth will definitely help you to get to the next level.
Okay.
Yeah, I think fully agree. One is just it's a long journey. I think have that expectation setting from the get-go that nothing's going to happen overnight. Don't compare. If you've seen somebody else grow at a certain pace, it's not necessary that you're on the same timeline. So I think a lot of life lessons typically apply to this growth journey as well. So having the right expectations for the category and the brand that you're building, different businesses scale differently. So expectation setting for yourself and for a team, if you're working with a team, is very important. And as Ashish was saying, I think having the right partners, knowing that you don't have to manage everything, take help from platforms, take help from the community. I think having that support system around you would make a huge difference.
Okay, so be true, be stupid, have the patience.
Okay, good.
So சீக்கிரம் முடிச்சிடுறேன். First, so when it comes to scaling, I'll tell you the way I think about it. So especially when you are a freelancer, you will be dealing with, let's say, 5 clients. There are 2 ways to scale. So either you could increase the number of clients, or you could increase the value that you give for the existing clients. So that is something that you'll have to figure out based on your business. What we are doing is we are trying to increase the value that we give to our existing clients rather than finding new people. That is one thing. And இன்னொன்று என்ன சஜஸ்ட் பண்ணுவேன்னா, that's how I personally did. It was okay to be a one-person business. It was okay to உங்களால் முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு you will have to do it alone. அதுக்கப்புறம் when the demand supersedes your value that you give or your time, only then start to hire people. The beautiful thing about this service business is you can get the payment first, and then you can hire people, hire talents, and allocate things accordingly. நிறைய பேர் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ண உடனே they want to open an office, they want to do a lot of increase the overhead. Basically we still don't have an office, we are making decent positive cash flow. So I would just say make advantage of the service whole model, get the payment first, allocate resources accordingly, and scale gradually.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Great answers from all of them. இப்போ வந்து என்னன்னா, I've just got a bunch of questions for all of them. டக்குன்னு rapid fire மாதிரி. So ஒருத்தருக்கும் let's see how they answer. ஆமாம், நிஜமாவே ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணிட்டு தான் வந்திருக்கேன். Right. So first to Epaphra, if you could have dinner with any creator, alive or dead, who would it be?
If it's alive, then it's going to be Ali Abdaal. He's a YouTuber. And if it's going to be dead, I would really choose Sushant Singh Rajput. Yeah.
Okay. What's the weirdest content request a client has ever given you? Weirdest content request.
I genuinely don't have any weird requests, but there was this time where we created, since we help people tell better stories, one of our clients wanted to celebrate their anniversary, and we helped them create a story for his wife, basically. So we created anniversary content for it that we went out of our head. We genuinely loved it.
Okay.
That's sweet.
If your life were a movie, what would the title be?
Movie title of my life. It should not have my name. Epaphra is very hard to pronounce. So I would say Yara Antha Paiya Natha maybe.
Good. So, Pooja, to you, what's your guilty pleasure when you need a break from work?
Just book a flight and go to Himalayas.
Okay. If you could introduce one mental health rule that everyone had to follow, what would it be?
Start saying no.
Yeah, sorry?
Start saying no.
Start
speaking
saying
your
no.
mind.
Good, good. What's one completely random skill you have that nobody knows about?
I can easily zone out in a conversation
Nice.
and you wouldn't know.
Nice. So for Parvathi, if you could instantly master one new language, which one would it be?
Oh, I think it'll be Japanese. My husband's a huge anime nerd. It'll be fun to suddenly shock him with a bunch of Japanese.
What's the most ridiculous excuse you've heard for a delayed payment?
Oh, there's been a bunch, but I think probably, so during the Christmas break, so from 25th onwards, typically US banks go off. So we try to ensure that, our customers raise invoices early and all of that. We once heard that somebody literally slept off on 23rd.
Okay.
And the payment ended up coming on the Jan of next year. That's probably the most ridiculous.
Okay. And what's this one app that you cannot live without?
Oh. Yeah, WhatsApp, I think probably could not live without it. All my communication happens there.
Yeah. Ashish, so if you had to explain GIGA Banking to a 5-year-old, how would you do that? Short. GIGA Banking to a 5-year-old, explain it. Short.
Whatever you needed, we have it.
Okay. What's one thing about your job that no one believes is actually part of it?
Storytelling.
Huh? Sorry?
Storytelling.
Storytelling, okay. If you could swap jobs with anyone for a day, who would it be?
I think I would like to definitely be a founder one day. So a startup founder's life, I would definitely like to live one day.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, Jack.
Yeah.
What's the funniest or strangest design request you have ever received?
I designed a graveyard.
You designed a graveyard?
Yeah, so it is an Italian client. This was my early stage of designing. So what happens is like there are a lot of marbles that is getting shifted from here, imported from here to Europe and Italy. So one of the client is like very focused. So he has a client list where like they decide their death stones today. So they want their designs to be in this segment, and they were very particular in terms of the color of the marble.
Okay.
So I still remember those, it's called the Bahama blue, Imperial red. So it has to be the perfect of the perfect. So generally in print, so whatever you do it as take a photo and then put it in the print, the color of the marble will not be in the same color. So we have to match to the color.
Okay.
So we designed the graveyard with designs and things. Yeah, that's the craziest to me. By the way, it's a big client.
ஓகே குட் அப்போ பண்ண வேண்டியதுதான். ஸோ இப்போது நீங்கள் மார்க்கெட்டிங்லேயோ இல்லை டிசைன்லேயோ இல்லை அப்படின்னா எங்கே இருந்திருப்பீங்க?
So I would have been an actor, or I have this சின்ன வயசுல thought like become as a pilot. So either of the two.
ஸோ உங்களுக்கும் அதே கொஸ்டின் தான். ஒரு ஆப் தட் யூ கேனாட் லிவ் வித்அவுட், இல்லாட்டி உங்களோட ட்ரீம் ட்ராவல் டெஸ்டினேஷன் என்ன? ஏன்?
Okay, I have this concept of maybe like if I'm like have a little surplus money, so let's go directly to any good 4-drive SUV showroom, get a car, and then take a drive for a 1 lakh kilometer 1 year road trip in India.
Good. Thank you for answering these questions as well. இன்னைக்கு என்ன மாதிரியும் உங்களுக்கும் நிறைய விஷயத்தில் தெளிவு வந்திருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். பிகாஸ் இட்ஸ் ஆல் அபவுட் சர்வீஸ் பிஸ்னஸஸ். ஜென்ரலாக எல்லாருக்கும் இங்கே இருக்கிற பிரச்சனைகள் என்ன, ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸ் என்ன அப்படின்றத தான் பேசினோம். இப்போது நான் ஐம் ஓப்பனிங் திஸ் பேனல் ஃபார் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் ஃப்ரம் த ஆடியன்ஸ். என்ன ரூல் அப்படின்னா, ஏந்திரிங்க, உங்களை குவிக்காக இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணிக்கோங்க. யாருக்கு உங்களோட கொஸ்டின் அப்படின்றத சொல்லுங்கள். இல்லை பேனலுக்கு இன் ஜென்ரல் இந்த கொஸ்டினா அப்படின்றதையும் மென்ஷன் பண்ணுங்கள். ஓகே, யா.
Hi, I'm Gautam. So I think I relate with everybody on the stage. So I started off as a designer and I'm doing international stuff right now. And I'm also like, without mental health, I think I would completely lose it. So my basic question is, I'm always kind of like this thing where, okay, where do I find the next client? So that is one question that has always been with me as a freelancer. So although sometimes there is one good client for like 2 years and then it kind of like all of a sudden disappears. So that is the first question. Where do I like, what are the best platforms, especially like the designer platform where I can find great clients? And as far as like financials go, right now I have this client in Germany who pays me in rupees because they cannot like literally hire me. So because it's cheaper for them, so they do it. So I would actually like, the solution of what you guys are providing, I think I'd jump at the opportunity so that I can like, quite literally get more clients from the UK and the Europe. So how do what is the best platform online, or is it building a story, which is I'm completely like, okay, why should I do it? Why should I go on video? Why should I put that? That is the question that I'm like literally running in my head all the time. What is the best platform where I do not have to like show my face? And how do I...
question already.
Yeah. So, what is the best platform? How do I manage my money better?
Okay. Yeah, anyone can answer. Second question, right?
Yeah, I'll take the second part of the question. I think there's better folks suited for the first half. On the payment side, so absolutely, I think for Germany, we provide what I would suggest. Given the use cases, you can open a virtual account in the local currency. So how that would work is it'll be in your name. It'll be like you have an account in Europe. And what that helps, one is for your customers, they no longer need to make an international transfer, right? So typically when anybody from outside India needs to make an international transfer, they are charged $15, $20, $30, depending on the bank that they work with. So that's an extra cost for your customer that you're able to sort of avoid for them. The second is the trust layer. They're seeing a bank they recognize. They know that it's a local payment that they're now making. Like how we do NEFT, IMPS in India, they can make a SEPA payment, which is the local European rail, rather than doing a SWIFT payment, which is the international payment, right? So absolutely would love to chat with you afterwards. Happy to, it takes 5 minutes to sign up. So happy to work with you on this.
Okay, so far the best platform Upworks. I think most of the people knows that because it's so professional. And answer to you to the next question is like, how do you get the clients? So don't be corporate, be professional. So that you should know the difference between a corporate and a professional. Because most of us, right, always work with pro. So people always love to work with the professional, not with the corporate. Because corporate comes with clause, professionalism come with more like connecting people, plus also you have that commitment.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Pavitra. I own a digital marketing agency, especially doing performance marketing. Yes, ma'am. It is for you, ma'am. Actually,
Okay.
I just started the things after seeing your YouTube videos. I got inspired from you. Like இந்த விஷயத்தை உங்கள்கிட்ட கேட்டால் தான் கரெக்டாக இருக்கும்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன், மேம்.
Thank you.
So initially, like, how did you manage to start this, like, digital marketing, especially the Facebook ads which you are like started, and also like how you chose your clients? So as a woman, I know like you were the only one doing the Tamil content 7 years ago in YouTube. So how did you like chose that you wanted to do in a verbal language, that is Tamil even, and how did you start getting the clients by doing those kind of content? And also how you are scaling up your business right now, and also the personal branding part.
நிறைய கேட்டீங்க, நான் குயிக்காக சொல்லிடுறேன்.
Sorry for this.
See, I started off quite early. சக்தி ஏதோ ஒரு போஸ்ட்டில் ஒன்று போட்டிருந்தாரு லிங்க்டின்ல, நீங்கள்லாம் ஸ்கூல் படிச்சுட்டு இருந்தப்பே இவங்க டிஜிட்டல் மார்க்கெட்டிங் பற்றி பேசினாங்கன்ட்டு. எல்லாம் சரி சக்தி, ரொம்ப வயசான மதர் ஆஃப் டிஜிட்டல் மார்க்கெட்டிங் பதில் கிராண்ட் மாம் ஆஃப் டிஜிட்டல் மார்க்கெட்டிங் ஆகிட்டீங்க என்ன. But having said that, I was one of the youngest professors at Symbiosis teaching marketing, right? And the time la வந்து இருக்கிற யாரை தூக்கி டிஜிட்டல் மார்க்கெட்டிங் டீச் பண்ண போடலாம் 2010ல, ரைட்? அப்போ அவங்களுக்கு கிடச்சது என்னென்னா இந்த ப்ரொஃபஸர் தூக்கி போடு அப்படின்னு. ஐ ஸ்டார்ட் டீச்சிங் டிஜிட்டல் மார்க்கெட்டிங். ஆனால் யாருக்குமே அதை பற்றி என்னால் எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ்லாம் சொல்லவே முடியாது. இவங்க இது பண்ணாங்க ஏன்னா இந்தியாவில் எதுவுமே இல்லை. பட் ஆனால் வெளியூர்லேருந்து நிறைய கான்டென்ட், அப்போவே இன்ஃப்ளூயன்சர் மார்க்கெட்டிங்லாம் பேசணும் நம்ம. ஆனால் இப்போ இன்ஃப்ளூயன்சர் மார்க்கெட்டிங் பற்றி பேசுறது என்ன, ஒரு 6-7 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி, அதுக்கு முன்னாடிலாம் இல்லை. ஸோ அப்போது அதை பற்றிலாம் தெரிஞ்சும் போது நெக்ஸ்ட் ஐ வாண்டட் டு ஸ்டார்ட் அப், ரைட்? அண்ட் பீயிங் யங் அண்ட் பீயிங் அ ப்ரொஃபஸர் இஸ் நாட் ஆக்சுவலி அ குட் காம்பினேஷன். You'll have to prove yourself to the audience. மெயினாக நான் நடத்தின இடத்துல half the class was older than me. I was 25 years old, right? So I wanted to escape that, and then I wanted to start a company. 2014 I started. எப்போ வந்து அப்போ தான் வந்து I gave birth to my daughter. அப்போவே ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணோம் அப்படின்ட்டு. தென் எல்லாரும் நிறைய கான்டென்ட் இங்கிலீஷில் இருந்தது, ஆனால் தமிழில் இருந்த கான்டென்ட் இல்லாமல் அந்த டிப்ஸ் ட்ரிக்ஸை பற்றி தான் சொன்னாங்களே தவிர ஆக்சுவல் மார்க்கெட்டிங் பற்றி பேசவே இல்லை. நானும் ரொம்ப நாள் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணணும்னு நினச்சேன். ஏதாவது ஒன்று சாக்கு சொல்லிட்டே இருந்தேன். அதுக்கப்புறமா லாக்டவுன் வந்தது, வெளில ஒன்றால் போகவே முடியாது, இனிமேல் சாக்கே சொல்ல முடியாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு கேமரா ஃபோனை வச்சுட்டு ஐ ஸ்டார்டட் டாக்கிங், ரைட்? தட் ஹெல்ப் மீ. ஹவு டு ஐ ஸ்கேல் அப்படின்னா வந்து அதை பற்றி நான் பெருசாக யோசிக்கவே இல்லை. முடிஞ்ச வரைக்கும் அகெயின் ஒரு ப்ராப்ளம் வித் சம்மன் ஹூ takes things as a craft rather than anything else, right? For me அது ஒரு ஆர்ட் ஃபார்ம் மாதிரி என்னோட ஒர்க், ரைட்? அப்படி இருக்கும்போது அதை நீங்கள் ரொம்ப கமர்ஷியலாக எடுத்து போகிறது கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டம். ஸோ அந்த பிஸ்னஸ் ஓனர் மைண்ட் செட் வரணும், ரைட்? ஸோ அது இப்போ கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக வந்துட்டு இருக்கேன், எனக்கு இன்னும் அந்த ஜேர்னியில் தான் இருக்கேன் நான். பட் வாட் ஹேப்பன்ட் இஸ் இந்த கான்டென்ட் க்ரியேஷனில் வந்ததுனால என்னோட 90% ஆஃப் மை லீட்ஸ் ஆர் ஃப்ரம் சோஷியல் மீடியா. தட்ஸ் ஹெல்பிங் மீ. இன்னும் பெட்டராக பண்ணால் இன்னும் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணும். ஆனால் வந்து அந்தளவுக்கு கான்டென்ட் க்ரியேட் பண்ண முடியறதில்ல. ஏன்னா டீச்சிங் மேலே அவ்வளோ ஆர்வம் ஜாஸ்தியாக அந்த சைடு மாற்றி போயிட்டுருக்கேன். ஐ ஸ்டில் டீச் அட் அ லாட் ஆஃப் பிஸ்னஸ் ஸ்கூல்ஸ். எண்ட் ஆஃப் த டே இட்ஸ் மோர் டு டூ வித் வாட் யூ ரியலி வாண்ட், ரைட்? இட்ஸ் நாட் தட் எவ்ரிபடி வாண்ட்ஸ் டு க்ரோ இவ்வளோ பெருசாக தான் அப்படின்றது இல்லை. இஃப் யூ டோன்ட் வாண்ட் டு க்ரோ தட் பிக், ஐ திங்க் இட்ஸ் ஓகே. ஐ ஹாவ் தட் மென்டாலிட்டி ஆஸ் இன் ஐ வாண்ட் டு ஹாவ் திஸ் சஸ்டெயினபிலிட்டி. இல்லாட்டி என் கூட யாரும் ஒர்க் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க இஃப் ஐ டோன்ட் ஹாவ் த ரெவென்யூ கோல்ஸ், ரைட்? அதுவும் இருக்குது. பட் அதை தவிர்த்து மற்ற விஷயங்களும் இருக்குது. தேங்க்யூ.
Thank you so much.
No more questions to me for the panelists. Yeah.
We are running out of time.
One last question.
Everybody is waiting.
We'll
for
take
lunch.
one more questions.
Okay.
After her.
So I'm a student. I'm Keerthana Seetharaman, pursuing final year in engineering college. One of the biggest challenges in freelancing is that you can't own a work. If I say I have freelanced this content goes to another editor who edits it, and it goes to another SEO editor who adds a lot of efforts to it. So when I say this content is written by me, a lot of people ask, you have just written it, and there is a lot of part that goes in editing. How can we just come to an end that you have just made the whole part of the thing? So how challenging is that to convince the client with this thing? And the second thing is that I relate to a lot of story of Epaphra Anna told. So the thing is that I am also a student. I am working in an internship. I am not able to balance time because I think that he has started Town Scholar when he was at Zoho. I wanted to know how he balanced time.
All right. I'll quickly answer these two questions.
Take your time.
First of all, don't have that mindset. So, of course, you will be contributing in writing, but the writing should speak for itself. For example, let's say your client has posted a video and someone should comment in that video like, bro, excellent scripting, bro, excellent storytelling. Now, if you have done that, then your job is done. So eventually, you can start off as a solo content writer, and then for those clients who are talking to you in this way, you can eventually hire other editors, and you can hire other people to do other stuff, and then you can provide service as a complete package. But don't have that mindset like only if you just part of one thing in the whole mechanism, that doesn't mean your value is any lesser. People will speak if you actually done the impact. So don't have that mindset. And when I was in Zoho, I didn't have Town Scholar. It was just started in 6 months ago. But while I was in Zoho, I used to work in UK shift. So my work starts by 2 p.m. and it goes till 12 or 1. So I used to split my days into 2 hours. So the forenoon would be about content creation, and the afternoon would be about my job, and the weekends obviously you will have to do content creation only. So just split your days, and we have sufficient time. Again, don't have that mindset. That's it. Thank you.